Welcome, everybody, to Azure Grand Assembly, July 2026. This is our monthly meeting and assembly of the community-wide. If this is your first Grand Assembly, please know that we do have 3 announcement phases with raffles in between for our community here. To enter raffles, we'll ask at that time to put a 3-digit number in either the Grand Assembly chat, the Twitch chat, or /random in game if you're here with us at the assembly hall. And then the number closest to mine will win prizes. We'll do that here in a little bit. We want to talk about a few things today that we also talked about last time, but also a few new things as well. We'll also have the Q&A here after the 3rd announcement phase. So that'll probably be about an hour and a half from now. This is actually, we have a shorter amount of things this time on the list to talk about. So this should be a shorter assembly than usual, but we'll see. Okay, I want to welcome our new recruits. We've got a lot of new faces joining over the past month. Had folks joining us across the Azure Infinitum network in different games. We have a lot of recruitment in 14, but we're also always seeing people join in our wings. And per tradition, we go down the list and we welcome all the names that have joined Azure Infinitum in this past 30 days. So if you have any questions, or if you have any ideas, comments for the council and I, maybe proposals to, for the community to try something, or ideas you have, we welcome all of that at the Q&A. If there's anything that someone would like to ask about privately, that's also fine. I'll be around for a little bit after the assembly here. All right. Going to pull up our recruits. Okay, so join me in giving a big welcome to the following names, new members of Azure Infinitum. Starting with today, Albert Shadowheart. Welcome to our FC in FF14. Mako Strife. Welcome. Banana Taco, Sapphire Mochi, Kitsune Stellaris, Brescia Ruincaster, Aziel Blackthorn, Solaris Aluna, Cayman Maharet, Dumpster Fire, nice name, Lemon Tart and Plum Tart, welcome, 2 that joined us this past week. Kareska Dracana, Risaru Zand, Polaris 600, Dark Night Howler, Princess Donut, welcome Brandon Monowis, Aline Holt, Everett Hawthorne. Welcome Happy Lone Wolf, Bread Buns, Azure Waltz, Marianne Hinkapi, Wolf Dragonfist, Kapalap Lightbringer, Celeste Sinane, Alea Draven, Pure Color. Welcome Wanderer, Honka Bean, Shin Hoshino, Ryuven Akamine, Isaac D. Welcome Kimimaru Hugo, Mistaken, King Tyrant, Aurora Bark, Glowvein. Welcome Andy 2K4, Alun Arak, Lazy Dennis. Welcome Verilyn Narantalaria, Lover Elunaria, Yul Aaron, Gake Betat. Not sure about that one. Sorry if I butchered that. Broke Rapper VR. Welcome. Mick Toast Muffins. We used to have a Mr. Toast. Mick Toast Muffins. Welcome Steamaniac. Mal Fortuna. Edward Ivitoya. Sifrid Koze. Tyrant's Wife. Welcome. Bop Doot. Curse 10. Kara Slayton. Welcome to Azure. Ash Duskborn. Ramenza Dragonborn. Artemisia Steelvale. That one sounds familiar. And let's see here, just a few more. We had a lot over in SOTOR, who also joined us this past month. The names read so far, I believe, was Guild Wars 14 and Warframe, with most of them being 14. And we also want to welcome Wano, Ribs, Kevin Conquiso, Mr. In, Desmona Asarlai, Enron Employee, Ninurta Nurgle, Nixara Colvina, Lan Rifto, Luna Skies, Forest Power, Braden Confused, Samurai Petrus, Clin Nif, Welcome Jezrin, Irene Ness, Rion, White Sun, Tasvalen, Ryler Eller, Skin Drinker, tasty, Roderick Matos, Lance Hollow, Torm, Holt Razor, Agiosesh, Black Tea, Kaitrata, Zafor Shalkeri, Welcome Roshan, Sardona, Kazma Alako, Kicksgirl Windwalker, My Lord Shadow, Gleb Consul, Post Bologna, and I believe we've reached the last month's worth. So if there are any names I did not name, either were not recorded on our recruitment list, let me know. I will read next time. Welcome, everyone, to Azure Infinitum. Quite a bit of recruits in the past month. And there may be one or two names that could have left one of the wings or the community in that time. But that is our list from the past month. So huge welcome to you all. Those watching with us now or checking in later, welcome, welcome. All right. Bear with me if I've had some allergies that were really bad. I've been sneezing. So I'm a little stuffed up. I don't know if it sounds like it or not. I'm really trying not to, but the last thing that I want to do before an assembly is take an allergy pill and fall asleep. So I'm going to just bear with it. Okay, let's talk the state of Azure. State of Azure Infinitum, our universal global gaming network here. Organizational status here. So overall, we are still on track. Nothing has really changed that much since our last assembly. We have a lot to look forward to in multiple games of ours. We got a lot of information this morning. We'll talk a little bit about that in a second. That was very exciting. And there's been a lot of stuff going on this month. This month in full was a total of, I think, 47 events across Azure. Wow, 47. And that is mostly the weekly, daily Azure Infinitum events across our wings and our games here. Most of them being 14, but we do have a hearty amount of Warframe and 4 Star Citizen events this month. I think we had a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Warframe events, and the rest being 14. So we did have a couple of new things on the calendar as well, especially special events this month. One being Grand Assembly, of course. That's kind of a minor special event, since the ones we usually call special events are like, Azure Day weekends and those big social celebration type events. But we do have something I'll mention here shortly coming up next month and in a few days, actually, as well. So a lot of stuff on the calendar. So there's still about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 7 more days left in the month. If you go check out not a full 7, but 6 more days after today. If you go check out the calendar and announcements, you'll see there is one more packed week here in July. And then comes August. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready for summer to be over. I've been melting for a few days now. Even with AC, it's pretty warm here in sunny California. It's there's only hit hundreds a few times so far, but even then, don't have a lot of ventilation where I'm at, my apartment and stuff like that. So it's just it holds in heat, and it just gets And of course, some of you know I have like 11 screens and like 5 computers hooked up and a lot going on. So this is a big operation, and it gets warm very quickly. So I'm kind of feeling like Yoshi this morning in that armor, wanting to take a drink every 5 minutes. So yes, everything has been going very smoothly. We got off for a couple months. I was going through some stuff, getting sick and some things like that, and so things slowed down a little bit for me on that end. But that really only affects certain things like posts and some content and some announcements. Other than that, this month has been packed. We've had game events in not our Azure events, but our games events in multiple games. As you can see on the calendar, there's quite a bit on there. There's been 2 patches for our Star Citizen, as well as the big patch coming up this Tuesday for 14. That's a really big one. Again, we'll talk about that in just a moment. And other fun stuff across our wings. Then, of course, the newer events, that are included or returning between Unreal Foe Fridays and Crescent Crusade was also on the calendar this month. So very exciting, very packed month. I think this month probably had the most unique items this year so far. And yeah, wow, 47 events. I think we've only had to cancel one in the whole two in the whole month. So not bad. Not bad. And of course, we have had some server transfers, some awesome folks coming in through, some of them through the IRSVC, that's the Infinitum Reserve Corps. That is our project we mentioned before about, for having folks that discover us on other servers, or maybe folks who, want to test out Azure by being an extended member, maybe chilling in the Discord and having a link shell and then joining us fully when they're ready, or maybe they're waiting for the server to open. Well, here we are. It's July and the server is still open. So that's pretty nice. And I think a lot of people at this point, even folks who are waiting to transfer, have gotten over at this point. So there's only 1 or 2 that I know of that I think is still waiting, and that's more so not a game reason why. But that's been fantastic. So, we're keeping up everything across the rosters through all of our 14 rosters. That's multiple link shells, FCs, and more. And everything across the network has been kept up, I think, pretty close to our promotions and recruits. And what was the other thing? Oh, the inactivity policy. So we did update that just a couple months ago. So if you're tuning in and you haven't really seen that we did that, we kind of made a uniform inactivity policy. So there has been some big cleanup of some of the rosters this month. So if you are in Warframe, or you're in WoW in Azure, or if you're in Azure's, we've been a little bit more kind to Guild Wars, since it's probably the smallest group. But some of those, please log in when you can, just to even if it's just to reset your timer, because those are smaller groups, and even if you're not actively playing in the wings, say you joined Warframe 2 months ago, but you haven't played it in a couple months, we'd love to not remove you, because when new people join, they want to see that that there's folks of rank, especially logging in, to some degree. It does help with recruitment a little bit as well. So. Please do not forget your timers, or you will be removed. And a lot of folks will try to reach out first. And if we don't, well, we might have been in a hurry. But this is just a reminder. In-game, in 14 here, this inactivity policy hasn't changed at all. So that's all the same. As for the IRSVC, FC, and CWLS, Cross-World Link Shell, those don't have inactivity policies, but if we notice that there might have been a name that isn't with us anywhere else, and they just kind of have been sitting in there a long time and never talked, if we don't see them online, we might remove them to make space when the link shell starts to fill up. But other than that, those are pretty much remaining the same. And of course, don't forget Chapter 2. We opened a few months ago. Chapter 2 is open over at Plot 9 for additional alts. So as I've repeated this a couple assemblies now, but I want to make sure we really get it out there that we've been known to have a one alt, one main policy for a really, really long time. And that's mainly because of the small member count that they allow in 14 for FCs. Yes, 512 is small, in my opinion. And if everybody were to have multiple characters, you know, then that would fill up really fast. And so we allow 2 more now. We allow up to 4 Azure characters total on Midgard Stormer. Of course, you can have 2 more on the Reserve Corps FC on Madeline. But that's basically a waiting room FC in a sense. So our overflow does welcome all. So if you've got an alt and it's like your 3rd character and you're like, man, I've got 2 in Azure, what do I do with this other one? I would really like to be able to teleport to Mist, where my friends and FC is. Please add it to Chapter 2. We keep buffs up over there on the same schedule every day. So that is always there. It's always available. As for activity and rankings, well, I believe we're blessed to have the same result pretty much every month. We are still very much in the top. We even had a week or 2, I think, where we beat what I call the boosters. So that's pretty impressive. Of course, I like to mention this strictly to share this with the FC because a lot of people don't know how it works. But when you do anything in game, basically you're leveling, you're doing dungeons, you're completing high star crafts or anything like that, especially when you're turning in gear to the GC and you get seals, FC gets credits, and then those credits get tallied, and then the lodestone puts up a ranking. Well, that ranking does sometimes affect discovery. Sometimes people like to see what the most active FCs are, and it's actually a very good testament to the most active FCs. The only thing that kind of mires that a little bit is the fact that there are people who go and they do like an ungodly amount of turn-ins, and that's what we call the boosters. So, you know, typically there's a way to find out who's boosting when you just look at the individual GC rankings and you see somebody with 6 months worth of credits in one go, and you know what they did. So little, you know, 8-man FCs that are beating out, you know, massive groups that are really super active, or even rating and everything like that, and they're, you know, we know what they're doing. So a lot of times when we announce the rankings, we don't count those, and we'll announce, you know, what I call the real rankings. So we are still very high up there, number 1 in the server remaining. And like I said, we even toppled the boosters a week or 2. That was funny. So good job. Pat yourselves on the back for being the most active FC in Midgard Stormer, top 25 in Ether, and in the top 150 in NA. Congratulations, Azure. Oh, yes. And the other reason why we mentioned this too is not just for FC morale. You know, if they were to drop a little bit naturally, it wouldn't be that big of a concern. It's not our main goal. Don't want to give an elitist vibe whatsoever. But sometimes there's people who might look and they don't know that there's boosters, and they go, man, we dropped like 2 places. And I'm like, nah, not really. No. So we just like to mention that. All right, so who watched the FF14 Berlin Fan Festival Day 1 stream? Anybody here? I see some faces from the watch party this morning. Yeah? What did you guys like the most? What was the key thing for you? Was it the 7 raids? Was it the Bastion job? The tank? Yeah, oh, I'm seeing them pop up. Yeah. Tank, yeah. Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah, tank is a big one. That's one of the biggest reveals, sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, punchy tank. Yeah. Yeah, with a little bit of range on it too. Yeah, the new MGP thing, the FF7 typing game, all of that, yeah. And the glams too. Tank job, the floating continents, pretty sick. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Well, do you like to watch, Defensor likes to watch summary? Yeah, totally understandable, especially if you're busy. The best thing you can do is watch a summary, really. Yeah, I mean, this is the second fan festival, so we already knew about Evercold going in, but like, you know, the job and all the little things. I think they had a lot of good stuff this time. I think I enjoyed this EU one more than maybe the previous EU one. Not April, though. April was really awesome. But yeah. And we'll be finding out more at the Japanese one, at least the last, what's left. FF10 lover, haven't played 7 yet, so nothing to say about the raids. Well, maybe you'll do the raids and then you'll see some characters, and then when you go to play 7 you'll recognize them and be like, oh hey, because a lot of people do that with the game already. They see stuff that's just in 14 and then they go back and play older ones. And I love that the series has like that effect where you can start in the older games and then play 14 and go, oh man, I remember that from whatever, FF5 or 6 or 9 or whatever. And then the opposite is playing 14 first and then going and discovering other stuff. And it has like almost the same effect. It's awesome, actually. There's a lot of videos and stuff out there of where things are from and which games, things show up. There's things like the Gala cat, like the little flying cats, and you think those are like unique to 14, but they've been in pixel form since the 90s in FF5. So it's like it's kind of surprising. There's even a few things that I noticed when I went back to do my replay of the series a couple years ago. Every so many years I go through the series again, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I recognize that from 14, but I didn't ever care about it when it was in 5, And the Gale Cat was one of those things. I had completely forgotten that those existed in 5. Yeah, I was deciding if I should start 14 again, but not 7 rate convincing. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nice, Albert. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. And one more thing about that, back when the Omega raids came out and they were featuring different bosses from different Final Fantasies, the first 4 are from 5, the second 4 are from 6, and the last 4 are kind of a mishmash. You got Omega, then you got one from 1 and some others, and I won't spoil the rest of those. But when that happened, I thought, surely back then in Stormblood, I was like, this is their chance for a Sephiroth fight. And you know how Square Enix, they've had a few Sephiroth cameos in other games, and they've always been really fun, in my opinion. So, if, how in the world are they going to do 7 raids and not include a Sephiroth fight? There's no way. They're totally going to include a Sephiroth boss fight. And if you know how Savage works, usually when there's a final boss from another game in a raid, the Savage version has their final form. So I'm looking forward to that safer Sephiroth boss fight. I might actually dip my toes into that content next year. So, well, you know what? They might save him for the 12th raid. They might save him for the 12th. And if that's the case, then we're not going to see it till 2028. But it's something to look forward to for sure. It's definitely very exciting. Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. Yeah. Those were two amazing Sephiroth fights. And I remember as a kid, he kicked my butt too. And then I came back as an adult and I was like, I'm ready. Yeah, that's what I did my whole like max level runs of Kingdom Hearts. And I did another series playthrough of that back in 2019. Okay, so a lot of excitement over FF7 raids, okay, in the tank and everything. And oh yeah, Albert, I don't care where he appears as long as he does. Yeah. Yeah, same feeling for me too. So here's the question. So now that we know the 8-man raid series, and we already assume that Azure's going to run those, we again, as I mentioned in the past, we've been asked a lot too, with everything coming out that's been being shown, is like, what are we going to do about this like middle difficulty? Well, we're going to have to see when we get there, but they're saying as of this past FanFest this morning, actually, they said that the middle tier that they're adding, excuse me, it is slightly easier than extreme, slightly harder than normal. That sounds very doable for an FC event. And then, of course, the way that gear progression will work is that Savage will give immediate reward, and the middle tier will give a gradual reward, which is kind of nice. There's a very small percentage they showed this morning of people that actually do the Savage stuff. And there's a lot of people, like over 80 or more percent, I guess, that is into normal. And that's, all that's needed for most of the stuff in the game, besides if you're taking on Ultimate or whatever. So it's really cool that they added a second tier there. And I'm sure that we can do that as an FC. That won't take away from our normal 8-man raid nights. Just to reassure you all, we will still be doing normal raid Tuesdays. But in the past, we actually had a raid catch-up day, which was like a pre-reset catch-up day that we did on Sundays. No promises what day that's going to be. But instead of doing raid catch up, I think we can do a like whatever they call it. Do we have a name for the middle tier yet? Is it advanced? I don't know if it's advanced, but whatever the middle one is and the normal, I'm sure we'll be able to do that. And this was called, hold on, it was just announced this morning. What was it called again? Something live stream? Beyond the live stream. So live stream Tuesdays. I don't know what to call it yet. Maybe there will be another name for the instances themselves, like how Pandemonium had Asphodelos and Anabasios and those like that. Maybe there'll be a name that we can use that will be easier than just live stream Tuesdays. I don't know. Live stream Tuesdays sounds good, but we got a while to figure that out. So we're going to be doing that for sure, as well as the Evangelion trilogy. First the first raid, then the duo, then the trilogy throughout the entirety of Evercold. So we're prepared for that. And those, of course, they do swap Tuesdays. So when we get to an odd patch, it becomes Evangelion. When we get to an even patch, it becomes FF7, at least for the Tuesday. And I don't know about the advanced one where we're going to put that, but I'm pretty positive that that's going to work out fine. So I wanted to comment on that. A lot of cool stuff shown. The progression system that they're showing for gear and what may or may not do away with tombstones. Still didn't really get a clear answer on that this morning. Looks pretty doable. I don't think it's anything to worry about. I think it's not truly a battle pass, but it does work like a season pass. And there is no cost to it at all. They don't want to do that. And they know why. And we all know why that would be a very bad idea. So they're not going to do that. But they will be combining the patches into what's called seasons. So every 2 patches will be a season, but they're still going to call them patches as well. So I don't know if there's anything in that we can use as an FC for any type of event or anything like that. Obviously, we are technically, even though we do a lot, we are technically limited to how many names we have on the duty roster. The duty roster is every name that's signed up as a backup or main across all of our events that we have going on across the whole network, 14 and wings included. And, however many volunteers we have makes it even more possible. And right now, we're running a little thin. We're doing fine, but we are running a little thin. So this begins with stepping up into scout role as assist, our Azure Scout Squad Initiative and Support Team, ASSIST, and spending some time in assist and then getting familiar with our support channels and then stepping up to event hosts. Scouts can, I was going to mention scouts later, but I might as well mention it now. Scouts can make what they want to make of that rank, whether it's eyes and ears for the council and leadership or getting more involved, stepping up to leadership eventually, or staying as a scout captain and host of events. There's a lot of opportunity there. So when it comes to our future events and how many we're able to hold, it will also be determined by how many folks are available in our logistics team, which is the portion of assist that we have those hosts in. So a lot of fun stuff shown this morning. We are totally game to host that stuff and look forward to that starting next year in January. January is only like 5 months away, so it's not as far as it seems. I mean, Christmas is going to be here, and then bam, Evercold. So even though they have not announced this yet, I wanted to tell you guys just to give an idea, because it's a good idea to start thinking about this now, especially people with jobs who want to know when they should take time, or should start preparing to take time. That's going to be early access is either going to be the 1st, the 8th, the 15th, or the 22nd of January. Those are the only dates that could be the early access, the only ones. The release date is either going to be the 5th, the 12th, or the 19th, maybe the 26th if they push it all the way to the end of the month. So it's either going to be one of those 4 Tuesdays for official release, or early access is going to be 1, 8, 15, or 22. They're not going to do early access on the 29th because that would put the actual release date into February on the 2nd. And it's for sure going to release, all of the press and everything has been shown to be just January. So it will be January. So I have a feeling it might be in the middle of the month because they're going to time the 8-man raid release within a couple weeks of the MSQ and 0.0 patch. And then after that, it'll be probably about a month from that the Savage will come out. So we're kind of expecting Savage which also brings the new maps for map nights. They always come out on the same date for whatever reason. Those will probably be somewhere mid to end of February, maybe. It could be pushed into March. So that's kind of the expectation right now. The 0.1 patch will probably be in April or May. I would think they would push it to May because, one, big expansion, plus giving, Savage enough time to have its time in the spotlight. It's probably going to come in February. And then, so 0.1 patch is Evangelion. So Evangelion, April or May, FF7 raids, tier 1, regular and Savage, probably end of January and February. So that's kind of what to expect. So that's not really that long from now. We're talking within 6 months from now. This is all going to start going down. And we already have the patch this Tuesday is bringing Occult Crescent's Northhorn for the Dawntrail relics. And we're also getting the next Hildebrand chapter and the relic steps with the Northhorn content. And then in September, just a couple months away, August and then September, when we're almost done with July, that's Beastmaster and the last part of MSQ. And that part of MSQ is part 2 of what we just got. So no new trial. NUO is still the final EX trial. So as far as our Mondays go, we've had some awesome learning parties. Those have been going really well. And the point of those is to come in, get an idea of the fight, learn what you can, and clears are not really like expected, but that's what they are. They're learning parties. So there's still lots of folks that are interested in learning or completing that fight. And if we start seeing regular clears, maybe we'll start thinking about moving it on to something else, at least until we get to Evercold. But the way our event planning goes coming up to expansion, we usually start kind of winding down our weekly event schedule in 14 when we get really close to the expansion. So that's going to look like, a few events are going to kind of be taken off, and then at one point, maybe a week or two, we'll give everybody that week or two chance before early access. But that's going to determine on when early access is, and that's an announcement for a future assembly. So just giving you guys an idea way ahead of time. But you've got 6 months, list under that, to get ready for Evercold. So level your jobs, maybe raise some gil. There's going to be a lot of stuff to do to get ready for that. It's going to creep up on us before we know it. And then we're even going to have Beastmaster for those interested in that. And that'll tie us over a little while too, which if you saw the live letter this morning, it actually looks a lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be. But yeah, take a look at that. There was a lot of information about Beastmaster this morning. It is a limited job, so I can hear the groans from here. I think it's neat that they do little sub games of their own in the forms of these limited jobs, but I also wish that Beastmaster and Blue Mage, these two iconic Final Fantasy series jobs, were battle jobs. It'd be really nice. I mean, especially the 11 players here. You guys know how awesome Blue Mage was in 11 and Beastmaster. So, kind of like, I don't want to call it a disappointment. I think that I don't think that's the right word. I think that's a little bit, to me, just personally, I think it's disrespectful to the development team who've really put a lot of work into it. And actually the reason why Beastmaster came to 14 is because Sakaguchi wanted it. So that's the father of Final Fantasy, who was a guest at the last Fan Fest. And on stage, he put Yoshi P on the spot and said he wanted Beastmaster. So here we are. And it pushed the Blue Mage update back a little bit. So maybe we'll get one of those in early Evercold. We'll see. So we have had some questions about Blue Mage events, and that's gone up and down in interest. And I don't think it'd be a good idea right now with the amount of with what we have on the duty roster, unless we have a few more people wanting to host something like that and a lot more interest right before another limited job comes out, because there might be something that we can focus on with that one. I really don't know. I mean, most of that's solo content, so it's really hard to say right now. But if you want something like that in Azure, if you want a blue event, stuff like that, then, well, we have a lot of blue events because we're blue, but I mean, Blue Mage. Yeah, if you want a Blue Mage event or anything else, be vocal, because the more that we hear you guys want something, the more we try to put it together. And that's actually why we started looking at Unreals, which we discovered very recently that the time slot that was chosen for the test runs weren't that great. And that's going to kind of be on the table for now until maybe we get a little bit more of our logistics, built up. But other than that, that is, our plans for Evercold. We're going to be storming down those gates sometime in one of those dates in January I mentioned. Remember, the early access is always the Friday before the Tuesday, and there's only 4 Tuesdays that are viable in that month for that. So that gives us kind of an idea. I know it's not an exact date. We're probably going to get that either at the PAX presentation in a couple months or at Japanese Fan Fest. It might be either or. They tend to do that sometimes. But that's it. I mean, it's going to be something. And when we have our events on pause, our normal stuff like Treasure Thursdays and things like that, we're not really going to care that much about that because we're going to have so much to discover those first few weeks. So, maps will be coming back in over time. So I know I talked a lot about this, but this is all that's kind of currently happening right now as we get these dumps over the years for 14 Evercold info. And even though this is a while from now, I want to talk about this ahead of time because it helps us kind of keep that in our minds and answers a lot of questions on how we handle events and how we approach expansions. And we're on the approach. I look at Evercold kind of like the Death Star, and we're like in the distance, and we're like, yeah, that's no moon. That's an expansion, and we're slowly sailing towards it. And we're going to be there before we know it. So, okay, let's take a quick break here and do one of our raffles, and we'll get on to Phase 2 announcements here in just a moment. So in order to see all the raffles in the room, I have to move my character to the center because I discovered the raffle roll distance in the chat box is the same as say, and this room is longer than that. So there we go. Rick is in the center. See, Pickles got the lucky squats going on. Okay, so if you would like to enter a raffle to win a prize from the prize pool, they're very good prizes, very, very good. Go ahead and enter a 3-digit number in the Grand Assembly VC chat, or 3 digits on Twitch, or /random in game now. And in just a moment, the number closest to my roll will win the first raffle prize. Also want to say congrats to the raffle winners so far from our watch party. We had, let's see, Kasura, Gideon, and Lisa won this morning. Some very nice prizes. A couple of mounts and a Figmental. We've got some different stuff here for the assembly. This is just a thanks to those that are attending. Keep in mind, you do have to be actively subscribed to 14 as the prize is an in-game item. And I can't trade you if you're not playing the game. You don't have to be logged in as long as you have an account and you can meet up with me anytime after this. All right, see numbers coming in across the board here. Okay. All right. One more minute. So it looks like my prediction of Gun Shielder, as I called it before we found out it was called Bastion, was pretty accurate. Pretty accurate. I was kind of just going blatantly based off of the t-shirt of Riditin that they pointed to and said was a clue, because Yoshi P always has the t-shirt reveal. He had a 007 shirt for Machinist. He had the Ninja Turtles for Pictomancer, which, you know, Donatello, Michelangelo, they were all painters. So that was clever. And I thought maybe they're hinting to, you know, something else, maybe something Garlean or I don't know. But my guess was Gun Shielder, and pretty darn close. Pretty darn close with that. The name Bastion is very, very, very good. It's very good. Also reminds me of a great game, too. It's a great game called that. All right, my friends. I'm going to call time here. Time. All right. The number closest to Reika's roll. $430. $430. That's, let me see here. I could have swore I saw $420 somewhere. Oh, I did, but they erased it and re-rolled. Okay. Should have kept your $420. Okay, checking. Let's see. Okay. Not on there. Okay. Not on there. All right. Anything? Let's see. We have a 461. Minus 430. Let's see here. Checking chat. You can't see the chat on the stream, but that's okay. 480. Okay, so that's 50 away. Albert with 461, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that, Peter. The magical 420. Okay, well, it looks like Albert, you joined the FC and win a raffle on the same day. Good luck. Very good luck. Okay, let's see. Would you come up and trade me, please? I'll try to look for you as well. Here. Oh, there you are. All right. Congratulations on your very new Cosmo board. Congratulations. You're welcome. Enjoy. It's actually pretty cool. It's a nice hoverboard. And if you already have it, it sells for a good amount. All right. We got 2 more raffles in the next phase 2 and 3 here in a moment. I got to run away from the stuff and then jump back to sit down. There we go. Nope. Okay, let's see. Reika's going to do a little victory lap and then... There we go. Okay. Reposition stream cam here. Okay, so this coming week, as I mentioned, we have the return of Crescent Crusade, and we also have something else on that same day. That day, even though it's kind of like a lot smushed together, the day itself is really meaningful, so we just had to put it on that day. July 31st, we'll have Celebration of the Azure Sky 2026. Now, I mentioned that along with Summer Festival last assembly, but just wanted to give a reminder and an update that there will be a page posted with information on it this time. Usually it's a banner that kind of handles it because it's a smaller special event. It's not like Summerfest, which is a 3-day mega event. But Celebration of Azure Sky on July 31st, we'll have 2 specific tours. So the tours are the event, and there will be raffles. So there will be some freebies, giveaways, and things like that. This is a kind of a bi-yearly event, sort of. It's not something that we always have every year, but we've had it in the past around this time. And it's one day out of the whole year that we actually take a moment to have an official event dedicated to Azure lore, Azure FC lore specifically. So if you join me for any of the tours, there's Tour 1 and Tour 2. One's late night after events. The other one is before events earlier in the day. So it will be recorded as well. So if you aren't there, you will miss out on the raffles, but you can still, watch the tour and hear the talk. So what I'm going to be doing is taking groups to several, and I mean like quite a few, very special locations, we'll say. We'll start with the FC Hall, and then there's kind of like a track that will go down that leads through all these special locations. We'll go to the very places that Azure was founded, talk about why they took place in those places. We'll go to the old FC estate. we'll visit some other Azure properties around the realm and talk about what they're for, what they do, show them off, give a little history. There are things around the FC hall that you may not even know has a story to it. That'd be kind of interesting to find out. Even outside in Mist, where we've been here for going on 12 years. There's a lot of history. And a lot of this is because, one, there is a lot of interesting things. A lot of people, when I tell them stories all the time during map nights and sometimes just casually in VC, and we talk about, well, this is how this came to be. And they're like, oh my God, I see that every day. And I never would have thought that that's, and there's even stuff you just wouldn't have imagined. That is part of FC history. And so some people do find these things very interesting. And then others are kind of just like, oh, okay, well, I'll hear about it or read about it another time. But if you come with us on the tour, you'll get a personalized tour and maybe win some prizes along the way and get to see more about your FC, more about your community that you're in, and learn a little bit about it from myself, who has been here the whole time from the very beginning. And I think I keep my memory fresh because, one, I do like to talk about our history. I'm kind of like one of those proud parents, and this is like my child. So it means a lot when other people, really want to know more about it. And this is home to a lot of people. There's a lot of very passionate Azure members here of all ranks. Some have been here for 10 years. Some have been here for 3, some for 1, some 6 months. But we have some folks that really love their home here in 14 and also really like these kind of things. So why not at least have one day a year to do this? And then it'll be recorded. We have the old recording of an old one a while back, but there has been some new developments since then and some things we didn't include last time. So if you come this time, you'll also get, either more insight or, learn a few new things about the FC as well. And this is strictly in 14. So those listening that are also in our other wings, we don't really have a lot of history as much in those other wings. I mean, we had Destiny for 12 years, and that kicked the bucket, thanks to Bungie. Then we've had Monster Hunter. But there are a lot of locations in this game and items and things to show you guys that I think a lot of you would find very interesting. So we're going to be doing 2 of those tours. So the 31st is a special day because the 31st and August 1st and the 31st of July, those 2 days, those actually, we sat down, like I said last time when I mentioned this, we sat down and thought there's a lot of summer milestones and a lot of them have happened at the end of July or at the beginning of August. And this is how this event came to be a few years ago. We said, well, what if we have an event that's like a month prior to Summerfest and we just, have a kind of a lore day type thing. Wow, okay, that sounds awesome. And we had a big crowd last time. So, I think it's a cool thing to do. So Celebration of Azure Sky will have 2 tours. Like I said, one's before events, one's after. The events that day is the return of Crescent Crusade, our Occult Crescent Dawn Trail Relic Field Op event, Field Op Fridays. And Friday Night Treasure Maps, Friday Night Treasure Fights, which will not be changing. It will remain all the way until, I think, end of December, until we find out the Evercold release date. Maybe first week of January, we'll see. But yeah, so Maps and Crescent, and then before that will be one tour, and after Maps will be the second tour. So our late night crowd has the opportunity to attend, and our earlier crowd, at least early PST, and then evening EST, will be able to experience that as well. So I'm thinking something like 2 or 3 p.m. Pacific, and the other tour being around maybe 10-ish Pacific. So that's late night and early midday. So, and then of course the recording will come up soon. And I know we've been a little slower on event videos lately. I was going to talk about that in phase 3, about our plans for August. But when this happens on next Friday, or this coming Friday, it will be uploaded overnight. So that way anybody that's interested in watching the tour, which will be about an hour tour, can be able to experience that as well. So you won't miss out, but we really want to see you there because it's also really fun to go on this walk in a crowd of blue and, be able to give out these prizes. And I'm going to round up a whole bunch of prizes. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be I don't know. I don't want to put a number on it, but there's gonna be a lot of prizes. I want to give out something like several things at each location, and I've already got like 20 locations in mind. So yeah, like I said, a lot of prizes. So if you're free around that time, feel free to come join us. The official time and information will be posted very, very, very soon. Possibly like tomorrow morning. The Celebration at Azure Sky, or CODIS 2026, as we call it, will be posted with all that information. So. Good stuff, fun stuff. Little bonus thing to our July calendar. And as for Summer Festival next month, the official post will also be live at the start of August. That post is a growing schedule. It starts off with 3 days of TBA slots with just a couple things filled in, and it fills in throughout the month because we are planning vigorously ahead of time to make sure that Azure Summerfest 2026 is the biggest Summerfest that we've ever done. And I know I tend to say similar things like that about every year when it comes to Summerfest, because we do like to go all out. But this will have more prizes, more funding, and more locations, and more elaborate events than I think we've ever planned before. So that is 3 days of back-to-back hourly events for 3 full days. I know, we're crazy. And that will be Friday, August 28th through Sunday, August 30th. Next month. And like I said, the program guide, you can also download the guide. It'll be up on the website here at the first week of August. So that's going to be really fun next month. Kick off the end of the summer with a pretty big bang. So, and Azure Summerfest is the super version of our Azure Day Weekend events, and that is like full of contests, races, game shows, prize giveaways galore, flash raffles through the whole weekend. You've got parades that we do. You know, big Azure parades, the big screenshots like you see in some places on our website or online. You'll see the really big gatherings. It's a great shot or a great time for the opportunity to get into a gigantic FC screenshot. And we do a few of those because we know people really like those, and some people are available at different times, and we really don't want to leave anybody out, but we try our very best to put them at different times a day throughout the weekend, so there's a good chance. And we will be doing a summer-themed gigantic screenshot, as well as a fully uniformed one as well, since they're both really nice, and this one's Summerfest, so we got to get the summer shot. We got to get the big summer shot. And the summer screenshot does go on the following year's advertisement, so the 2027 one will have that shot on it. But yeah, Summerfest is going to be big. There's a summer tournament that we're going to be having, not only the Triple Triad tournament, also the Summer Azure Cup Chocobo Grand Prix, and also the big tournament, Azure Grand Duel Tournament 32, where we have a vacant Infinitum Championship title. So on our website, you can see under the community tab, the one of the tabs at the top of the website navigation bar. You just click the drop down and you go to champions, or you can click the champion button on the homepage, and you can see we have a Hall of Fame for all the champions throughout Azure history. And Champion does come with immortalization on that page. You will have a bio. Champions will have a lot of treasure that they get in game for being the champ, kind of like a medieval tournament, you know, where the champion gets showered in gil. Also, huge prize pot. We've got a very big item as well, like a 20 million gil mount in the chest for the winner, Pilgrim's Protector's Horn. Yeah, there will be a Summer Triad tournament. Yep. And for the Grand Duel tournament, the victor of the tournament will win a best-of-5 match to claim the currently vacant Infinitum Championship title, which also comes with a custom rank in the FC based on your global rank, which are all anchored in Discord. So if you're a scout, you'll be a champion scout. If you're a member, you'll be a champion member, which also puts your listing on our Lodestone page higher than the other members of the rank that you won champion from. So you'll be just under council if you're a scout champion. If you're scout champion member, you'll be right above member rank. And so it's a great way to highlight our champs and kind of show them on the roster, as well as you know, give them something that is you know, very memorable and lists on our website. So that championship is vacant, and that doesn't happen very often. Normally we would have a championship match, champion versus contender, but this is a great opportunity to get into PvP. And I know PvP for many is a little intimidating, but they have it to where it's synced. Gear does not matter. Job level does not matter. You just have to be 30 to access Wolf's Den. And we do this 1v1s where everybody can watch. So even if you don't want to do it, you can come watch the fights. Fights are usually have commentary from, myself and or others that might want to do it. Fight commentary as well as some sound effects, and we kind of make a whole thing of it. So the Grand Duel tournaments are very fun, and the prize pool is always the prize pot is always building. So if you want to donate to the prize pot, put money in the FC chest, the guild in the FC chest, and just tell me that, say, hey, I put a 500K in, or whatever. This is for the prize pot, and then I'll increase the prize pot. The winner of the tournament wins the prize pot, and this time they win that and the championship title. So, and this is a championship series that we've done going back to 2016, Azure Grand Duel Tournament 32, and that'll be happening as a summer tournament during the weekend of Azure Summerfest. So lots to look forward to there. And yes, the Triad tournament, that's something that we used to have these really, really big Triad tournaments. And I think the last couple Azure Day weekends, they've either been at a bad time for people or maybe there wasn't as much awareness of it. But we're going to put a little more spotlight on it this time. And I think having the reverse rules, where even the starter decks are strong because the lowest cards you have are the best, is a really good way to go. But we might mix it up this time. What will be different? Not only will we be having the Triad tournament at the Triad Battle Hall at one of our Azure event venues, but we're going to have the semifinals and finals take place at the Gold Saucer. Because if you play at the Gold Saucer, those who know, you have more rules on your menu, so you have to play with additional rules. So that'll be chaotic and fun and awesome, and we're going to do some special prizes for Triple Triad winners this time. I think it would also be cool to get a screenshot of our Triple Triad winners, like maybe the runner-up and the number one, and do the in-game border that's a Triad card. And we'll be able to share that on our sites and stuff too. So that'll be fun. So yeah, several summer tournaments and events coming up. Summerfest will return with a lot of Azure Day weekend and Summerfest favorites, stuff like Need for Speedgens, riddle races, and more. The return of Who Wants to Be a Gillionaire trivia event, normal and hard mode. We haven't done that one in a while. Very, very cool. When we do Who Wants to Be a Gillionaire, we actually set up a entire game show arena, and it's complete with lights and music and everything. So there's like a certain soundtrack to it. The lights will go dim, kind of like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. You got the drum beat that's like real. Adds a little bit of anxiety to it. It's very cool the way we do it. So we're going to do that again. That's been a while. I think Summerfest is going to be really cool. The whole lineup officially will be announced, so there'll be plenty of time before then. The Summerfest post should probably be the second week of August or so. So there'll be 2 weeks that'll be filling in. I want to have it filled out a week in advance from the actual date of the event start. But that'll be up on the site too. So there's a lot of posts for special things coming up soon. The Celebration of the Azure Sky thing for next week will be probably tomorrow, and then the Summerfest post will be up mid-August. So please look forward to it. One moment. Okay, so for Crescent Crusade, again, Field Up Fridays, same day as Celebration Azure Sky, this coming Friday. I did mention it last assembly, but for those who are new or didn't catch the last time, we did say that we wanted to try to group with Northhorn being the priority, and people who are needing Southhorn still, we can get a group together for that as well. Depending on our availability of hosts at that time slot and day, excuse me, and attending upper ranks, might determine whether we have a officially hosted group for Southhorn or not. But I can guarantee you that there will be logistics teams members who are going to be very present in Northhorn through these. So the idea is a little bit more about what's planned. The idea is if this follows the same pattern as Southhorn, which it does look to be very similar, there will be critical encounters and fates. And so with the gold system that they have added to Occult Crescent, or added with Occult Crescent, that was very popular back at the beginning of Occult Crescent, and we know that warriors were like a hot commodity to have leveled. So if maybe you've got a warrior sitting around that you haven't worked on in a while, you might want to get that leveled, because there's a good chance that warrior is going to be asked for again for the gold parties. So there's probably going to be gold parties, Fate and CE parties is the way we're looking at splitting it. And this is information based off of what we know now. So the goal is to go in early Tuesday, figure out as much as possible, and then let the FC know how we're going to address the grouping for Northhorn come Friday. And Friday's our day for Field Ops. It's Field Op Friday. We're still going to be running the 24-man. There's still a good 20-something people that attend that pretty regularly. So those coins are still really, really useful. And don't forget that in September, at the 7.56, at the 7.56 patch in September, they unlock the ability to buy the weapon dips for the coins. So that's your 790 weapons. So you're still going to want to save up these coins from the weekly Vanadil, almost said Evilise, Vanadil raids, which makes the Vanadil raids very, very, very handy. And even now they're still, for 790 gear as well. So that's still going to be continuing. So Field Op Fridays is the best place for us to run OC together. By all means, don't wait for Friday, but if you want to go in with a group that can explain and know it pretty well by then you can rest assured that that's something we're going to be providing come Friday. And if you're new to Southhorn, I know it's come up at an assist meeting, and we haven't really done this, but this is probably the best thing I can do right now is to remind you guys. Maybe go back into Southhorn and just get a little bit of a what's it called, like a reminder, or de-rust a little bit. Do some CEs, practice Phantom Job stuff. Don't forget you can buff yourself with them a lot, because we didn't really have a setup for returning to Southhorn leading up to this, but Northhorn is going to be a big deal for a while, at least a couple months. I'm hoping, personally, and I know people have mixed feelings on the relic stuff and the progression of the relics, but I'm personally hoping they use Northhorn a lot for this final step, because Southhorn in full, especially now that we've seen more of the steps, did not nearly get used for their relic stuff. Like, you can do most of it outside of it. And I think they were thinking that was like convenient for everybody, but it also like cheapened the content, in my opinion, personally. Only because it gave less reason to stay in the field op itself, which introduces said relics. Where like Eureka, for example, and even Bolgia, you had more opportunities to do it outside of Bolgia, but Eureka, you really had to use Eureka, and so it brought the FC together in Eureka so much more, where our Crescent Crusade event before did not last nearly as long as our Eureka stuff. Eureka was like never ending for Azure. We did Animos first, followed by Pagos, followed by Pyros, and then followed by Hydados, and every time that we got to a new one, we had the old ones still running parties, even if it was just 4 or 5 people that needed an old one, where OC came and went so fast that, it got to the point where everybody was like, yay, I don't have to be in here anymore, and I can just do, fates for Demiatma, and that's it, and then roulettes for the wheel, and then paste for also stuff outside. So, you could still go in and get some of those rewards like Demiatma inside there, but it just seemed like most people didn't want to do that, and that was fine. But we're hoping that Northhorn gets utilized a little longer. And they did talk about making the Fork Tower, more accessible, and also introducing an easier mode or something like that. So we got a lot of research for us to do come Tuesday. And, you rest assured that a portion of council and I will be on that and checking that out to see what that entails for the FC. So that way when we go to group for Northhorn, that we'll kind of know what's going on. But the expectation so far is Fates and CEs and gold parties, and we'll be grouping separate groupings on at the same time, same grouping time, separate parties being made is what I meant. So if you are interested in coming along to the big field op days, those can be a lot of fun, especially the more people that are there. It feels cool because we get to, deploy like 2 or 3 parties, and then sometimes we see each other during the critical encounters and stuff. And field ops have just always been a lot of fun in Azure. So I'm really hoping that, this one, especially because we didn't get one at Endwalker, I'm really hoping that it lives a little longer than Southhorn did for us. But that's what to expect on Friday. Coming back Friday. That will be weekly until it really dies out to the point where we're not seeing anybody need it anymore. So, and there's only, like I said, there's only 5 months left of the expansion, of Dawntrail, till we get to Evercold. So, maybe at least 2 or 3 of those months, Northhorn will be pretty viable. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay, we're going to take another break here, do our second raffle. I'm going to hop over to the center of the room here, and we've got a little bit more announcements and things to talk about just after this, and we'll have our third as well. So if you'd like to enter the second raffle to win a prize, again, same rules, /random in the chat, 3-digit number on Twitch, or the Grand Assembly VC. Oh my gosh, a 0, the legendary 0. You can roll a 0 all the way to 999, or you can post 000 to 999 in one of the chats as well. Yeah, 0 is possible. It is. It is. It's rare. It's very rare. It's basically a 1 of 1,000 chance, but it's there. It's real. And we got a lot of folks here today with us. Awesome to see you all. A lot of chairs full. Got six folks watching here with us on Twitch, and 20 something here in Grand Assembly VC. Very nice. All right, we'll give a minute here. Anybody else that has not rolled, it is time to roll if you want to enter. Just a /random or a 3-digit number in one of our chats. Preferably the Twitch Grand Assembly VC or /random in-game. All right. going to go ahead and roll and call time here. Time. Okay. Here we go. Number closest to this one wins a prize from the prize pool. 892. 892, 892. Who is closest to 892? I see a 966. I see an 872. 872 is very, very close. Let's see here. Anybody else close to 892? Checking chats. No. Let me see. No. Okay. All right. It is looking like, where was that one again? 872. 20 away. Asselin. Lieutenant Lycoria, congratulations. Link it. You won a Cosmic Armored Weapon Identification Key. There you go. Congratulations. Typed my emote in there. Oh, no, not rigged. Not rigged. You're welcome. Enjoy. And we still have one more raffle here after our next phase. Phase 3 will be a little shorter, so we're not too far from Q&A. AI generated. No, not this time. All right, my friends. Let's see here. So I want to announce the return, the official return, the return, officially, the Azure Infinitum podcast. So our podcast was begun back in 2019. We had a couple real early episodes, went on a little bit of a break and came back in 2021. Ran monthly or so throughout the years until we got onto a real strict schedule on it and started pumping them out there in 2024, 2025. Went on a break towards the end of last year. And since then, it was just kind of up in the air. Did not intend to last this long. But you know, when you want to rope in the right schedule and people and things like that, sometimes things take a little time. And, you know, we're really good about keeping everybody up on communication here with our assemblies, announcements, posts online and everything like that. But our podcast serves a pretty wide range of needs that those other things don't all the way. It does give us a separate place to kind of have a sit down and a longer discussion about some things, like when we talk about the Azure Wings at the assembly, we might be able to go into more detail during the podcast because we have a little bit more time. We also set up to be a show where we have different segments dedicated to different topics with one thing I call the meat in the middle, you know, maybe a little silliness here and there, and some important Azure updates at the start. So this Azure podcast, it does a really good job at helping some folks get to know some of the voices here in Azure that will be on the show with me. Some being leadership voices, support roles, our scouts here in Azure, and some that are very new to the podcast as well. We're going to have a lot of new voices. The way we have this set up now is we have a podcast role, and I'm starting out with names from support and up to kind of get the ball rolling. There may be some members that we want to pull on the show here or there. So if you really like talking and you like discussing either this game or other games that we have Azure Wings in, you want to talk about stuff from the game industry, anime, Japanese pop culture, things like that, Azure Infinitum, by extension, Azure Network, is very much involved in those things and talking about those things and posting about those things. So Very good time to sit down and have a chat about stuff that's coming out, new updates to our games, and all that, all those shenanigans on the podcast. So let me get some really golden moments on there. Sometimes it can be pretty funny and humorous, as well as very informative, and that's kind of the goal for the show to return. So here's the thing: how is this useful to our members? Our members can listen to the podcast on the go. Maybe you're on the way to work, you're going out for a jog, or just leaving it up in the background of your office or room, and maybe you'll catch a few things. Azure updates that might have been smaller but also important things that we didn't talk about anywhere else yet, or maybe there'll be something that we expand upon from the assembly, like I said. Or just stuff that you learned that you didn't know about some of us. You might get to know the hosts more, and it's another way to kind of absorb this information. And as a lot of you have noticed, we really like to be informative here. I really like to communicate with the community, and through these live meetings like we're doing right now, our assist meetings, our council meetings, our posts, our updates, our news, our announcements, all of that, plus our podcast does create kind of a network of information where it's very hard to be in the dark here on what's happening in the community, because all of these things are available. Something else that we'll be setting up is bringing the podcast to Spotify. That is something that I have planned ahead on. A couple months ago, I looked into all of the background stuff that's needed to do something like that, and got that set up. So it will be maybe not the first one right away will be on YouTube, but following that, we'll have all the episodes up on Spotify. So that's something that will also be very handy as well. So you can literally ask your Alexa to play Azure Infinitum podcast, or maybe your app or anything else. You could run it in the background on a game console. There's a lot of things you can do once it's on a service like that. So yeah. That is something to look forward to. The first recording is actually going to be this Sunday, as in tomorrow. So the first episode should be out a couple days from that, or less, depends on how quickly you can get that edited and posted. So, but the goal is to get it up quick and at the start of the week. So this will be weekly, which means a new podcast will be out at the beginning of each week. And also in August, a return to our schedule of event videos and recordings. So a lot of people know that during most events, not all, but most, that I do record events. Sometimes there's a lot of stuff that's scrapped. Anything that, might come up that's not suitable for posting online or something like that, I'll take out. But it is hard to try and give that disclaimer every single time. I don't really have a good way of making that super obvious, besides just putting up the live symbol on the Discord stream, which may or may not take resources away from doing a high quality recording on OBS. There's a lot of times I'm recording and streaming as well. So I kind of want to start setting the precedence that when I'm in an event, I'm basically recording. This does not mean that anyone has to hold back from anything. I don't have any rules against, like language. I mean, we have Azure rules against certain, you know what I mean, the rules charter, certain language, excessive cursing, stuff like that. But I will do my best to give disclaimers. But most events I'm going to be recording. So this is something that we also started doing at the start of 2024, and almost everything from 2024 since, minus maybe a few stuff this year, had gone up on our YouTube. And we also made reels that were really awesome, and a lot of members enjoyed these, mostly capturing just the funny segments, stuff where we're like, cracking up and laughing during events, or taking on challenges, or different things like that. And what this does is it actually shows other communities, other people looking to join, folks that may have never seen the stuff that we do as a community, because we're so organized, and then experience that. And a lot of times it actually acts as a way to bring people to our community. It also helps fight against, say we got a nasty troll spreading a rumor, something silly like, these guys will spam your inventory with bananas if you come close to them. And we go, oh, well, here's what we do every day. And here's here's a video. So that's not true. Or, oh, deep inside the community, it's, they're sneaky and weird. And we're just like, nope, here's us having fun, laughing, and having a good time. And so it really demystifies what it's like inside of our community and kind of shows what our events are like. We also, I'm also working on a recruitment video. This is kind of a commercial advertisement for the FC and Azure Infinitum network as a whole, showcasing the community as a gaming community that anyone can join, where ranks are universal and you can play a lot of your favorite MMOs together, and just kind of continuing to build that identity as a gaming community, but also showcasing 14 as our core, because as I've promised all of you, and I intend to keep my promise as always, just like I keep Reika's Coronet as a promise of her leadership from the very beginning, that 14 will remain our core. The wings will not take away from 14. 14 will not take away from the wings. There may be some priorities on my end with tending to the more largely populated guilds in Azure, like 14. But as far as, there's any concern, like, well, the leader will get involved in another game and never come back, because that happens in a lot of guilds, happens all the time. You never have to worry about that, especially since this is the thing I'm most passionate about. And I know there's a lot of others on our council that feel very similarly as well. So we did open the Warframe wing in February. That's been pretty nice. Slow and steady growth there, but very, very fun times and events, and getting people back into it, others having a good time, finding people to play with, very important. So, we'll have that recruitment video and advertisement up in August, along with the other return to videos and posting. Our reels and stuff like that will be back. So that's a thing on my schedule, stuff like that. So we'll be having that once again, very active, and a lot of it will also get posted in Discord too. So you really don't have to look very far, but we are on all major social media platforms. So you can follow Azure Infinitum or myself. They're both, two different accounts for each one, most of them. On Facebook, we have a page for every wing. We also have the global Azure Infinitum page. We have an X account for Azure and I. There is also a Blue Sky, if you prefer that instead. There is a Instagram, a Threads account, an Azure Pinterest, our Azure on TikTok, where our reels and news updates are posted pretty regularly. And I think I'm forgetting one somewhere. Well, there is Azure Reddit, which is small, but it's there. All these major. We also do news posts on YouTube too, which is interesting. You can actually do that, but that's there as well. So all these things are shared across the board, and as some of our screenshot channels say that some content from the community will sometimes be featured. That's where they get featured. So you might post a screenshot that you really like that you want to share with the community, and I'll pick that up and share it with the world. And that's really exciting to be able to share content from our community. We also have some webhooks enabled that can actually do a lot more than what they're doing right now, which will feed back to the website and our socials and showcase community content a lot faster than what I've been able to do by hand. And we want to do that too, because we want not just some of this stuff to be hidden in Discord. We want it to also flow onto our website naturally on its own, without anyone having to do anything besides just post it in Discord. So another nice connection there that'll help fill out the website more. Speaking of the Azure Infinitum website, after a lot of feedback and review and personal review of the site, after some years, oftentimes I'll discover new tricks, or maybe I'll look back and go, here's something that could be done better. I have a number of things for maintenance, dates for maintenance, as well as updates and changes to the Azure Infinitum community site, which is azureinfinitum.com. So I will be updating our About page, making that a little bit more easy on the eyes. Right now, it's kind of just a big text dump. I want to make something special for the Azure Infinitum FC timeline, Well, there's a timeline. I know a lot of people are probably not aware of this, but on the About the FC page on the website, under the About tab, there's a timeline from 2013 all the way to now. And 2025 and 2026 is still in a work in progress. But that timeline lists every major event that's happened in our community, when we've changed something big, when we started and ended certain like events, things that we've done in our history. Sometimes there's fun facts on there, things that happened in the past, where we had like a PAX meetup, or maybe something big, like when we were at, Frankfurt Fan Festival, which was a really big one. That was a big one for us. Having the guys on the press team, and then also delivering that plaque for Yoshi during that event was pretty memorable. That's on the timeline too. There's a lot of fun stuff on the timeline, lore, events, things like that. So I want to do something special for the timeline and the About page, and also kind of clean up the homepage and make matching buttons a little bit more, since we've added to it over the years. How it goes. When you add to something, sometimes it's time to go back and uniform it a bit. Like when we condensed our informational stuff, our documents, rules pages, and stuff like that. A lot of condensing a couple years ago. So, so some facelifts there. You just make it even more clean, a little bit more organized in some places. A lot of the individual pages outside the home page and the About pages probably won't change too much, since they're kind of just there for what their purposes are, to have some information and like stuff for ranks and like our champ page and stuff like that. But the stuff that really displays, who we are, what we're about, and how much we have going on, I want to update some of that to be a little bit more eye-catching. If you see a little bit of maintenance here and there, don't worry, I'll announce it as well in general chat. I don't think it's an everybody tag worthy type of announcement. But if it's done, it'll only be done in spurts, and it'll be only it probably won't even be unavailable, but it could be unavailable while I'm working on it for maybe a period of an hour or something like that. But I'll let you guys know. So sprucing that up as well, returning to our normal post and video schedule, as well as the podcast returning. Not a lot left to talk about here. We're done almost 30 minutes early, but I do want to remind everybody that we do have a lot of wings, and we have needs in those wings. So if you play any of the games on our list in Discord here, or what you see under the wing category on the website, and you want to get involved, we are always looking for Pathfinders. Pathfinders are specially appointed members of the community that are given some permissions to help spearhead the guild for whatever Azure wing it is. So we do have a new Pathfinder over in SOTOR, Tasvorin, has stepped up to help lead guild invasions, put up buffs, and also work on getting the last bits of our flagship put together. So thank you to Tasvorin for that. We've been checking in there at least a couple times a week. His progress updates have been awesome. And, there are opportunities for Pathfinders to come up into assist ranks. That's our support corps, the scouts. And Pathfinders that do really, really well and stick around for the long haul can become wing commanders. And these are the leaders of Azure wings. Wing commanders also have the opportunity, starting at scout captain, to even step up into council as time passes, and we can see that, leadership is viable and things like that. So a lot of opportunity in the wings. Great place to get involved. I envision a future where those wings rosters are completely filled out, and we have wing commanders at every turn, hosting events and helping lead those communities further for the glory of the Azure skies, and building a stronger, larger, and better leadership team with representatives from many worlds. But slow and steady growth is important, and I would rather that than to try and rush anything. But we do want to continue to have a focus on recruitment across the board. Which is why you will always see, new faces coming in, and why we target guild lists or FC lists members, with some pitches, and just be like, hey guys, we noticed that you did not have an FC. Would you, like to come on board? Here's some information. And, that's something that I think is really important. That's one of the most important things actually about running a community, is you've always got that the ups and downs. You've always got the folks that go on long breaks and come back. And for for the long-term members and people that are currently around for whatever length of time, it's awesome to have other people to play with. And I think that's why a lot of us are here. We're here for the social experience, the help, the aid, the learning, everything that we can kind of sponge off of each other knowledge-wise, things like that. It's an MMO. It's an MMO, and we're a community, and it's always worth building in every form. So we have talked about the funding projects as far as what I mean in-game funds in the past, and that's going very, very, very well. FC airships and submarines being utilized, mainly submarines these days, to bring a lot of funds, building up the FC chest. Some may have noticed that we invested about 100 million gil recently into some side projects. Not going to go down that whole list because we'll be here forever, but there is probably a good 150 coming back in a couple days. So going very well, and expecting to probably get a lot closer to capping out the FC chest by Evercold. So what this means is it means bigger and larger investments for the FC, meaning raid gear, meaning more of the high quality food getting put in the chest all the time, keeping the expensive dyes up in the chest, stuff that's going to remain expensive, but also easily provided by our FC, for our FC, like we're doing onions now. Onions were something that were once coveted to the point where we had to have a delivery service because we didn't know if someone would, join as a recruit and become a member in 3 days and then take all the onions because they were worth millions altogether. But now, losing 20 onions isn't a big deal. It's like, oh, 2 mil. Okay, I'll just take 1% out of the funds and replace them. So we're doing really good there. We're really doing good building up those funds. And I want to give a huge shout out to my right hand guy in helping with that. Terry, General McKinney here, has been extremely active every day with this project with our submarines. He has been a huge help with the funding for the FC, and absolutely amazing in what he does every single day. This guy's hardcore. He grew onions for 6 years for the FC, and now he gets up every single day, rain or shine, night or day, whether he's at a work site or not, and does this for the FC, checks our submarines, checks other stuff, helps me deliver resources, does trades. So big shout out here to Terry, General Terry, thank you. And I also want to thank our attending scouts and council for everything that they do, our members, you guys who have remained helpful to each other, continuing to support one another, and supporting the council and I. It does mean a lot. And when we have that support and we're supporting you in return, I think that's where we thrive the most. And I think that's why Azure has endured the test of time and will continue to do so. And together we fly as free as the Azure sky. So we're going to do our final raffle. That is it for the announcements for the assembly. We've talked about a lot today, from special events, stuff coming up next week, Return of Crescent Crusade, Celebration of the Azure Sky, next month, Summerfest, the tournament, and more. We've got plans for Evercold that are underway, lots of plans to continue recruitment, growth. Everything is going well across the board. And I know a lot of today we touched base on things that were previously announced, but we had more information and more things to go over today on a lot of that than we did the previous month. So we're looking forward to bringing the podcast back for everybody that's interested in listening to that, as well as the events and things that we continue to provide every single month, our monthly event calendars, and just always kind of keeping in touch and base with our community as much as possible. So after this raffle, we'll have Q&A. That'll be, I don't know, maybe 20-ish minutes or so. We'll see how long that takes, but whoever wants to come up to the little stand here in the front of the room, single file, or raise hand on Discord, we'll call on you here in a moment, and we'll do that right after the raffle. We can talk about anything that you guys want to bring up that we talked about at the assembly, or any comments, proposals, ideas, feedback for the council and I. We want to hear it. But first, the final raffle. Please /random if you're in game, or go ahead and put a 3-digit number on Twitch or the Grand Assembly VC, please. And the number closest to mine will win a prize. Grand finale. Okay, so special update. We had a special donation for 2 additional raffles right after this one. So we're going to do 3 raffles right now. Grand finale, 3 raffles. Okay, so let's see. Expand the log. Oh, my controller disconnected. No. Okay. I'm going to take a look at our numbers here. Okay, so when I roll, the top 3 numbers closest to mine. So the closest one will get the first prize. The second closest will get the second prize, and the third closest will get the third prize. If you haven't rolled or entered a number yet in the chats, this is your last chance. Defensor. All right, I'm going to call time. 3, 2, 1, time. All right, here we go. 4, 1, 2, 412. 412. Okay, so closest to 412. Closest to 4 to see a 460. I see 414. That's probably it. 414. Let's see. So rem is 414. Looking at our chats, I don't see anything close. Okay, second closest. I see a 361. Let's see, 361. $478, $460. That's closer. 334. $361 is, let's see, so that's 9, so it's 39, 39, 49, 51 away. See, a soy is 51 away. Let me see. Railgun 47 away. And there was 460. 460 is 48 away. Wait, is it? No. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Right, so that's 48 away. What did I say Railgun was? 469. So that's 9 more. 57. 57 and 48. Yeah, quick math. So, okay, let me see. Is there any other 300s? Higher 300s? Just a 361, which I said was, what did I say that was? 51 away? So soy, so that's 31, let's see, 9. 39, 49, 51, yeah. Looking like rem, def, and a soy. Double checking. $76, that's too far. Or 78, 78's too far. Oh, 334, no, that's too far. Okay, so it looks like first goes to rem, then def got 48, and a soy is 51. Okay, rem. Where you at? There you are. Okay, congratulations winning the assembly raffle. Hold on, someone's trading me. Thank you. Okay, so the first raffle, the final item that I brought to the assembly tonight was the Carbide Gray Warp Loader Identification Key. Congrats. Okay. And courtesy of Leafit, thank you Leafit for the donations. Defensor wins second raffle. 1 million. And Osoy. Osoy is, let's see, where are you at? Looking for you, Osoy. Osoy. I'm just cycling through names. Oh, they logged out. Okay, that would explain. That would explain it. Okay. Well, Soy also got 1 million. Thank you, Leafit, for the donations. We'll make a note to trade them like ASAP. Okay. Congrats to our raffle winners today. All right. Doesn't look like we have anybody for Q&A this time. That's perfectly okay. I know we covered a lot of information. You guys are also welcome to reach out after assembly or any other time. Nope, don't see any raised hand. Nope. Okay. All right, guys. Well, we'll go ahead and call it here then. Thank you for coming to this assembly. Congrats again to our raffle winners. Hope you guys are excited and looking forward to all of our Azure plans and things that's coming up. It's going to be an exciting final week of July and a good August coming up here as well. Got a lot to look forward to with the expansion in the distance, looming ever closer, like that Death Star slowly coming towards us. It's been my pleasure presenting to you guys tonight. Thank you to my fellow attending council members and scouts. You guys have a good evening. This assembly cast recording will be up this week. So anyone else that may mention, that they missed the assembly and want to hear the news, anything like that. So a lot of the news here will also be compiled in upcoming posts and things like that too. So, yeah. Thank you, everybody.